Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we are taking a look at part 6 of our 7-part series deep dive into all of the armaments available in Doomsday Last Survivor. Now, before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button or that subscribe button if you haven't already to help out the channel. Like the video, let the algorithm know that you like these deep dives. Let's get right into it. Now today for our part 6, we are taking a look at shoes. They come in all shapes and sizes, as they say, but truth is there's only so many to choose from. Now the concept of these shoes are all the same no matter which troop size you're looking through. They're going to provide the same benefits. The truth is, when are those buffs triggered? And obviously, when is it most beneficial, like which ones to focus on the most. So let's start with infantry. So the first one we've got is anti-blast boots, providing squad's basic attack damage at 0.6% and infantry squad defense at 0.6%. Next, you've got plated boots, providing squad basic attack damage at 0.6% and infantry squad attack at 0.6%. And then finally, iron armored boots, which increases your squad's basic attack damage by 0.6% and counter damage taken is reduced by 0.6%. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, squad's basic attack damage, basic attacks are what you do when you're when you're in battle, right? Those are the white numbers you're going to see on screen. The white numbers you see on screen are a combination of your basic attack damage as well as things like counter damage, as well as, I don't know if it also includes protection and firepower, or whether those are calculated in the skills. But I'm sure it's probably included there too. But you have to understand, all of this is precursored on the fact that the developers have not released the actual calculations. So everything we're doing is, a lot of it is speculation, based on their other games that they have, and based on other games that are out there that are similar in the way that they do their gameplay as well. Okay, so squad's basic attack damage, from what I understand it, is part of the white letter numbers that you see. So if you are seeing those white numbers, then typically you're dealing with squad's basic attack damage. Okay, infantry squad defense is a what you call a static buff, as it's on just kind of all the time. It's going to influence everything. It influences how much damage you take, versus at the end how much damage you take versus how much versus the rest, how much damage they're dealing. Okay, so squad's basic attack damage when you're in combat, and then infantry squad attack. Okay, so we've got infantry squad defense, infantry squad attack, and then we've got counter damage taken. Now, counter damage is specifically when you're in combat with somebody else. If you're running away from someone, counter damage is not included in that calculation. But if you're in combat with someone, counter damage is included in that calculation. So this will make you tankier in the actual fight itself, as long as you're not running away. This will make you tankier overall regardless. So this one might make you tankier overall than this one does directly in combat. But then obviously if you're running away, if you're mobile or things like that, then you might actually be weaker. So it's going to be kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay. So now we move to the riders, where they have pretty much the same thing. Biker boots doing squad basic attack damage plus 6% and rider squad defense plus 6%. You've got the racing shoes providing basic attack damage and rider squad attack, both at 0.6%. And then spooky driving shoes providing basic attack damage and squad counter damage taken, both at the 0.6% buff. Okay, so again, it's very specific. If you want your troops to be more overall tanky, you're going to go with rider squad defense. Though during combat, they're not going to be as tanky as if you went with your spooky driving shoes, providing that counter damage taken. At least that's what my assumptions are. You're welcome to test it, but we're talking about 0.6% and 0.6%, so it's going to be kind of negligible. They're both kind of there to designed to provide tank or tankiness, right? And then obviously racing shoes to provide that additional attack. Looking at ranged, you've got your combat boots providing squad basic attack damage and ranged squad attack defense at 0.6%. Canvas boots providing squad's basic attack damage and ranged squad attack. And then obviously walking boots providing damage and counter damage taken. So, in my opinion, for range, specifically because they're in combat all the time and you're not going to be running away with them very often because they're the slowest in the battlefield, you're going to be leaning more towards the walking boots, or maybe even the canvas boots to end up pumping out more damage. Typically, I mean, you could go with defense as well if you wanted to make them a little bit tankier, but knowing that the whole purpose of ranged is to pump out as much damage as you can, having this amount here, or because they're in fights, it's going to be the walking boots to make them a little bit tankier. Okay. Now, into your leader shoes, you've got fancy leather boots providing squad's basic attack damage and squad defense, both at 0.6%. You have Chelsea boots providing squad basic attack damage and squad attack, again, both at 0.6%. And then you have premium Oxfords providing squad basic attack damage and counter damage taken at minus 0.6%. Okay, so it makes you a little bit tankier, and you're dealing a little bit more damage. Okay, so overall more damage, or defense, pardon me, like balanced out defense, balanced out attack, or tankier during fights. Now, for your overalls, or typically your farmers, food gathering speed, squad travel speed, this is the one you're going to be focusing on. Go ahead and keep this one for the farmer safety boots. Go ahead and dismantle the sturdy hiking boots, which provide damage dealt to zombies and squad's basic attack damage. Because these are going to be going on overalls, which are mostly gatherers. So having additional, like, it doesn't really do much. And then lastly, heavy mining boots providing squad travel speed and squad's basic attack damage. Now, if these were on boots that you could put on anybody, that'd be great, but they can only go on overalls. So chances are you're also going to dismantle those ones. Okay, dismantle the sturdy hiking boots, dismantle the heavy mining boots, and you'll do pretty well. Give yourself some extra, what are they called? These things, metal shards. Metal shards? Those are nuts and bolts. I mean, nuts, but whatever. But that's it for the elite shoes. Let's go ahead and take it the legendaries. Now, if you'll notice, first and foremost, we are missing one of the three selection that are for those are the included superb fragments, which we will go over shortly after. But believe it or not, these follow the exact same premise. You got squad or anti-blast boots providing squad basic attack damage and infantry squad defense at 1.2%. And then you've got your plated boots providing squad basic attack and infantry squad attack, both at 1.2%. So if you want your infantry to be more tanky, if you want it to be more damaging, pretty simple to choose from there. Same with your riders. If you want your riders to be more defensive, you're going to go with the biker boots, providing squad's basic attack damage and rider squad defense at 1.2%. If you want them to hit a little harder, you're going to go with the racing shoes, providing squad basic attack damage and rider squad attack at 1.2%. For the ranged, again, guess what, guys? The pattern repeats. Combat boots, squad basic attack damage and squad defense 1.2%. And yes, that means that the canvas boots are going to provide ranged attack and squad basic attack damage, both at 1.2%. So you've got combat boots, canvas boots, very, very simple, easy to follow. Now, when you get into the leaders, you've got fancy leather boots providing squad's basic attack damage and squad defense versus squad basic attack damage and squad attack. So you can choose which way you want to go with your leaders, depending on how you want to prep them out. You can even go one of either if you like. I mean, by the time you start leveling them all up and getting them to 5 stars, you can absolutely have multiples for multiple things. Now, when you look over here, guys, it's very much the same thing. You're going to go ahead and keep your farmer safety boots because it provides food gathering speed and squad travel speed. And you're going to go ahead and dismantle your sturdy hiking boots that provide damage dealt to zombies and squad basic attack damage. Go ahead and dismantle those ones every time. If you get one, say thank you for the metal shards. Okay, that's my best advice. Now, lastly, let's take a look at the superb shoe fragments. This is going to give us an opportunity to look at the special shoes. And the special shoes are the ones that are obviously more expensive because they do more and they have more capabilities. But remember, they are a pain in the butt to earn because obviously there's only one way to get them. And it takes a heck of a lot of grinding or money, whichever you have the most of. But first, iron armored boots providing squad basic attack damage, counter damage taken at negative 1.2, and infantry squad attack at plus 1.2. So, it's going to make you hit a little bit harder, and while you're fighting, be a little bit tankier. Okay? Again, counter damage taken is while you're directly in combat, not while you're running away, while you're directly in combat. Okay? So while you're in combat, you're going to be tankier, you're going to hit a little bit harder, and you're going to hit a little bit harder in your basic attacks. For your spooky driving shoes, you're getting squad's basic attack, counter damage taken, and rider squad attack. So you're getting that counter damage taken, making everything just a little bit tankier inside those spiky driving shoes. For the walking boots, you're going to get the squad's basic attack damage, counter damage taken, and ranged squad attack all at 1.2%. Again, making you tankier, doing more attack. So these are actually really good boots for range. That's exactly kind of what they need. Premium Oxfords, making squad's basic attack damage, counter damage taken, and overall squad attacks all increase. So you're going to put these on Jin probably, or someone like, heck, if you have nobody else, Peter, if you need to. I mean, you could put them on. There's lots of options for these leaders, right? Especially now. You've got Victor, you've got Bianca. All those guys are going to benefit from having, as long as you're leading them in the line, they're all going to benefit from having those shoes. Now, these ones here, heavy mining boots, feel free to dismantle anytime you get them, because again, we're just looking at damage dealt to zombies, which you don't really need. Same with your squad's basic attack damage and squad travel speed. See, I made a mistake in my other account, and I actually put some decent hones or spent some time honing into these ones, and unfortunately managed to pull a plus 20 gathering speed for oil, so I currently use them on my oil gatherers, but normally what you'll do is just dismantle them anytime you get them, and use those metal shards for what you actually want. Okay. And again, those metal shards, these here are used very quickly over in your shop, in the armament shop. You can go ahead and pick out the individual fragments that you want for the boots. You can go ahead and pick out some purple fragments, some honing components, some honing chips even. You've got lots and lots of options. Okay, pull out the actual fragment choice boxes. You get 10 of them for 80. So obviously, the more that you dismantle, the better. Okay. Oh, and if you didn't remember, let me just remind you one more time. Feel free to continuously dismantle your blues and greens and don't use them because they're really, really not worth it. Even if you level them up to level 3 and things like that, like, yeah, they're good, but you end up getting so many armaments. Like, I've got so many that are just sitting here not being used. So you don't really need them. Just get rid of them and use it and turn those shards into fragments that you can actually use. Okay? But that's it, guys. That is part 6 of our series. Taking a deep dive look at all of the armaments available in Doomsday Last Survivor. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have making it. It's been a lot of fun so far. We got one more to do. That's going to be taking a look at pants. So make sure you tune in for that one next week. Now, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, fill out the notification bell. Thanks very much for your support, for tuning in and getting all the way through this video. If you have anything to say, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. Whether you got a question or a concern. If you want to find me in game, feel free. I'm region 474. I love to meet new people, so go ahead and reach out and say hi. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to click the join button for $6.99 Canadian, works out to $5.99 American. You get access to additional emojis, you get access to bonus material, bonus content. We're going to start putting out other gaming videos as well for bonus content. We're going to make sure we have a lot of good time to obviously make it worth your donation. Any help that goes into the channel will be turned back into the channel for content, to obviously make it as good as possible for the people viewing. But that being said, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. I love y'all. Love, peace, chicken grease. And for everybody else that's out there, stay lifted.